This is the sweet sound of success with Sue Wilhite, Profit Attraction Master. Melissa Stecher, the owner and creator of Hopeful Simplicity, was informed in 2017 to consider surgery after struggling with multiple sinus infections. After that conversation and other stresses of life piling on, things had to change. She was stressed daily, and that was starting to become coated with anger. So she started swapping out harsh chemical products, and that grew into organizing solutions and home management. Now she gets to work with and teach organizing systems to other people so they can save time, money, and live less stressed. She shifts the mindset of "it's all on me" to home team successes by teaching home organizing styles, habit and schedule support ideas, natural product swaps, and connecting live weekly through social media. She not only gets to stay hopeful, but share it outward. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Hi.
So glad to have you on the show. This is going to be fun. I've already experienced your sense of humor and your motto, which is stay hopeful. So I have a lot of hope and some certainty that this is going to be a really fun episode.
It'll be great.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't watched the show, the subtitle of this show is The Hero's Journey for the Entrepreneur's Soul. And it involves taking 5 pieces out of Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces and dealing with those 5 in the way that entrepreneurs seem to. These seem to be the important facets of the entrepreneur's journey. And they are, I always have to pause before saying this one because it's hilarious. The ordinary beginning, the call to action, what brought the entrepreneur to doing what he or she is doing, the big hairy monsters that got dealt with, faced, overcome, or turned into allies along the journey. And actually, allies, mentors, guides, wind beneath the wings. Melissa's going to talk a lot about that. I'll just let you know. We're going to talk a lot about that part. And this is great because I think this is a huge part of the entrepreneurial journey that we really don't see. We see successful people, but we don't see their teams behind them. And so I think that this is a huge thing that we need to focus on. And I'm so glad that this is one of Melissa's big wheelhouses. And then finally, what Joseph Campbell calls coming home again, or the return. And that's dealing with those people who weren't on the adventure, entrepreneurial or otherwise, that might have a little bit of a disconnect with not having dealt with the big hairy monsters and not been on the journey and not had necessarily the transformations that have happened along the way. So that is the format of the show. And so let's get started with Melissa. What was your ordinary beginning?
I would say my ordinary beginning was the story we tell ourselves. Like, well, this is as good as it gets. This is what it is, right? Like, right. Stress is normal. So I was a mom, right? That's a thing all in itself. So your mom, I was co-parenting and blending families. I work full-time outside of the house. And then you toss in some regular health problems, you just can't anymore. Like that itself, you can't anymore. And my ordinary moment snapping point was being asked, what's for dinner? That was it. Like,
right.
I don't feel good. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. I don't even care. And that was my ordinary snapping point. And that's when I realized, this might be normal, but it's not going to be my normal anymore.
Right. It's not sustainable.
No.
Yeah, right. It might be what is status quo right now, but this is not going to happen. So your call to action was literally what's for dinner.
Yeah, it was all of those. I remember watching an interview or hearing some sort of conversation, and they talked to men and women in equal, like parents and families, and the male figure of the relationship was rarely ever asked, hey, how do you balance work and life, and work and home? And that was never a question. Like, you're a male, you go to work, this is what you do. You're a female, well, who's watching your kids? Well, who's taking care of your house? Well, what do you mean who? There's multiple adults here. We are going to do this. And so, yeah, that call to action was like a reality check of, I don't want this to be an okay normal for us.
Right.
Because it's not.
Right. And it, to use common language, it sucks.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I am too snarky and sassy and controlling for let that sucking stay around. No.
Right. So given the call to action, what was the action, and what were some of the big hairy monsters that you got to play with?
My immediate actions were product swaps. So having regular sinus infections, being told surgery's your only option, no, sorry, it's not. So we started making our own products, and we started getting rid of all those harsh chemical smells. So like when you go to the store or to the supermarket and you have that aisle and you're like, how hard can I take a deep breath, run down the aisle, get you the things I need, and right? Or even if you're cleaning your room, you're like, and go. And you're hurrying a lot. I was done with that. Like, so that's where we started. That was my biggest monster, because I couldn't continue having sinus infections and I was not going to get surgery. So our first monster that we would slay, more or less, because nerd, like you mentioned The Hobbit earlier, I'm like, yes. But so we swapped out harsh chemicals, and that auto shifted into, the comfort of everybody cleaning. No longer was I worried about, I'd use the bleach wipes on the dinner table before, and then the kids would come in and touch it. And I'm like, oh crap, go wash your hands. Oh wait, you're just using more chemicals, right?
Right.
So
right. You're using chemicals to get rid of the chemicals.
Right. So those swaps really led to more opportunity for other people taking over things, taking things off my plate of, I don't have to be the one that cleans all the time. Right. I don't have to use all these harsh products that drive my allergies crazy. I don't have to worry about all those. So it naturally progressed from me and the products we use to we. Like I have a son. And so for any moms that you may be or your audience may have, boys are gross. I love my son and he is the kindest person I know, but you can only clean the bathroom so much. So at one point in time, it just got to the point of, I am done cleaning that. Here are the tools, you do it. So we slowly shifted into multiple layers that, you don't even think about those multiple layers. You're using this product. Oh, you're cleaning everything. Oh, boys are gross. And so we naturally shifted into that. So not only is it less stress, we're saving time. I'm not dealing with more health issues, but now my son's involved and he's going to grow up to be productive. He's going to have the tools to succeed, to maintain his house, to be a good partner if he chooses. He's
going to be super popular.
He is.
Because let me tell you, my stepson was raised that way and he never had any problems finding dates.
Right? Like,
never.
You can choose to be whatever you want as long as you're kind and productive.
Right.
The rest, do you, kid, do you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So having done that, it sounds like, and from reading your intro, you took on very much a team mentality and creating allies and creating and being a mentor, but also getting mentors. So here we go. We're opening the floodgates. I know. So talk about allies, mentors, guides. Talk about that.
Well, there were multiple layers of it. When you're human, it's hard, right? And then when the ways you're raised, the information you receive. I'm a female of a not young generation, so it was programmed that, well, it's my responsibility to take care of the house, to take care of the kids, and all things indoor were on me. Right? It's his responsibility to take care of the job and take care of the yard. So I needed to consume conversations that fit more of what I wanted. No, I don't want this for the rest of my life. I want, whatever I want. I want to be open to the thoughts of shifting what you've been taught. So I consumed a lot of powerful women like Brene Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with yes. And then Alicia Keys has always been an inspiration. And the minute she released that More Myself book, I'm like, let me read it 5 times. Yes. Right. But at the same time, I knew there was more to our home team shifting, right? I know I struggle with perfectionism. I know I struggle with control. It is what it is. It's my job, right? It's my job to run the house. So I had to lean outward and get other ideas. So that's when I looked for the organizing community, like Catherine at Do It in a Dime and Cassandra at Clutterbug, or there's Alejandra Castillo, who's like the most organized person in the world. And they all have different styles, but they all blend it differently. Now, the biggest thing I couldn't consume from them was I was not a stay-at-home mom. And while there's nothing wrong with that, like I would have loved to stay home with my son, but I didn't have a day I could do all the bathrooms, right? I didn't, at 9 o'clock, I could do this. At 10 o'clock, that wasn't an opportunity. So I consumed the styles of organizing and the information, and I shifted it to a schedule that we could control. So we just did everything bit at a time, like 15 minutes a day. That was it. That's all I had, right? And that's normally while dinner was finishing cooking or you're putting your homework away. And so I consumed information about self, about styles of success for organizing, and I had to adapt it to, home life, like full time outside of the house and then running kids all around. And I don't have hours at a time. So we adapted all that information I consumed into now what is a hopeful lifestyle, because we don't have all day to do all this stuff, and nobody wants to clean and organize all day, well, except for me. But I mean that's just because it excites me, because I enjoy it. But those are the things that I had to find people that spoke a better woman language and a powerful person language, and people that gave me different organizing ideas, and then I just kind of combined those.
Right. And so your whole model is about creating teams, right? It's about creating partnerships and making the edges kind of meet, if not overlap, where sometimes, you do have the round peg in the square hole, or whichever way it goes. But, if you have a team, you can make it happen, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. We shifted it from it's all on me to we.
Right.
Right. And I mean, that's a big give and take. It was hard to do because I don't speak boy. Right. And just because my way's the right way doesn't really mean it's going to be the successful way.
Right.
And so there was a lot of give and take to find that even kill of less stress we. But I mean, we're here and we're there, and we're just sharing that outward.
Right. And so getting other people to understand this teamwork concept is what you're all about, right? Is creating teams, when I was very young, there was a aspirin commercial that showed a woman doing something, and her mother was visiting, and the woman was cooking something and it boiled over or something happened, and the mother offered to help. And the woman said, "Really, mother, I could do it myself," which would be the anti-theme for you. But that is the mindset that is the really deadly mindset.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that was what was causing you to have the sinus infections, to have the stress, to have all of that, and sharing it out into a team makes it so much better.
Yeah, it's the stories and responsibilities we give ourselves. Like, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I need to do that. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I don't want to inconvenience you at all, right? I don't want to stress you out at all. I'll just handle it all. And I think we need to realize we can give ourselves permission, even if, like, I give you permission to delegate. And I think it's a big and hard conversation for some homes, especially you get stuck in these routines, right? It's your role to do this. This is what you do.
Right.
And having those hard conversations and realizing it's, I got to stop using that kind of language. It's hard. I remember the episode. I think it's a YouTube episode or channel that Cash shares. It's like, you felt that resentment of, why do I have to be the maid and the cook and the home organizer and keep everything? Why is it all on me? And then you're looking at your family or your home team with resentment and anger. And you're like, no, that's on me. That's on me to not be like, why can't you just do this better? Right? Why can't you just do it like I do it? Right? And the same concept of, like, just get out of the way, you're doing it wrong.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's all those, it's hard. It is hard. Yep. So it's hard to have conversations, and it is hard to, give yourself permission and realize that you have to let go of control, and that this is just part of the journey. It's only going to be hard for now, but it won't be hard in a year. It will be less stressful in a year.
Right. Exactly. That if you just take the time to work through it, it does get better. It does. Really does. So let's talk about what happens with the folks that are around you that haven't cottoned on to what your system is and think you're crazy. Or, don't want to use that word, who think that you are doing something radically new and different and are doomed to failure because you're asking your family to be a team rather than bystanders.
Right. So we call it weird. We actually have a sign that says weird and wonderful. And we tell ourselves to wear our weird on the outside. And that really, I tease my family. I've been the black sheep my whole life. Black sheep, right? Okay. So I'm okay being that person. But once we sit down and we have that style conversation, I teach that everybody organizes in a different style. Mm-hmm. And so you aren't messy, you aren't lazy, you just haven't found your style yet. And so people are like, what do you mean? And so then once we have that conversation and, it becomes their ideal and they sit on it and they fester and they're like, I'm just going to try it. And they're like, oh no, that really worked. What else do you have? I had somebody, like, recently, we just worked on their paper piles. They had paper all over the counters and stuff was everywhere. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do this. And then she's like, okay, fine, I'll try it. And then not a week later, she's like, okay, I love this. What can we do in this space? So right. I just give you the tools and the permission to consider a change. And then once you sit on it and fester it, then we're hopeful.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get to sort of prove out what your weirdness is
Yeah.
what your crazy is, and go, well, it might be nuts, but it works.
Yeah.
Look what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
Look what's going on.
Yeah, I have no desire to argue with you or push back, or you have to know that you want to change.
Right.
So when you reach your snapping point, I got you.
Well, there you go. There's a motto.
I mean, tagline. We all have to get to that point of like, this is not working. I need something else. Whether it's about self or stuff or habits or whatever it is, we all get to that point on different facets of life. They were like, okay, I'm done. This is obviously not working. Put the cake down. Let's hit a treadmill. Like you have to hit those points in all facets of life. I just happen to teach organizing part of it.
Right. And your real motto is stay hopeful, because too many times you can look at the pile of stuff, that you've created and just go, yes. I'm hopeless. It's awful. Nothing can be done. And you just put yourself back into the bad habits. But your motto is stay hopeful. There is a way out. There is a way to do it. There is a way to make it work. It just takes a little bit of time and effort.
It does. Yeah. And especially like if you stay hopeful, you're going to have crappy days, right? There's days I don't do the dishes because I'm tired. I'm human. I just want to sit down and snuggle my cat. That's fine. The dishes will be there tomorrow. But I auto get back on those habits, right? Like, well, I missed it. Forget it. I quit. No. It's habit shifting. I mean, like, you're going to have days. You're going to have days it's too much. It's overwhelming. You get sick. But staying hopeful means you've shifted your mindset to know that, you know what? Yeah, that was a bad day. But tomorrow's a new page for this chapter. And that's the one I'm going to worry about writing.
Exactly. Well, that is totally wonderful. I love it. Absolutely love it. And so I've got a bonus question for you, Melissa. Of all of the things that you do for your clients, for your family, what is it that is your favorite thing to teach or share that just totally lights you up? That if somebody says, oh, can you do this? You go, yes.
Oof. I don't know. And I say I don't know because each client is different, right? Mm-hmm. Like my favorite type of client is the me from 2017 that's like, this is as good as it gets, right? Those are my favorite clients. So seeing and helping my clients grow through that and shifting their mindset, I think that's my key. That's my favorite. I could tell you all about containers and systems and styles and pretties all day long, right? And we can tunnel down different directions because we have things that overlap in life. But seeing you change from defeated and overwhelmed and like to lighter, to happier, to more intentional living, to where you actually want to be. Nobody wants to sit in the suck for life. We all want to be present and intentional. And actually, that's my favorite thing is seeing people shift and watching them grow.
Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. It's one of the reasons I do coaching is, watching the light bulb go off going, oh, I could do that. Whoa. Yeah. It's candy. It's total candy. All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. This is, as I thought, been a fabulous, fun episode. I've loved talking to you, love your enthusiasm, love that you spread hope around in such a generous and wonderful fashion. How can people who are inspired by you get a hold of you?
All of my contacts are on our website, which is hopefulsimplicity.com, but we're on all the social medias, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse even, and it's all Hopeful Simplicity.
Beautiful. All right. Well, my wonderful listeners and viewers, if you want to get organized, if you want to get out of the, oh my God, it can never get better than this, then stay hopeful and talk to Melissa. And thank you so much for joining us on the sweet sound of success.
Thank you, Sue.
What are your dreams for your business? You know what drives me crazy? Really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action coaching program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action coaching program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.